The last album gave him some attention, but this album made him big. Hello guys, my name is the Polish Gamer and welcome to yet another album review. Of course, in this video we're going to be continuing the run of videos I'm making right now of reviewing all the Nickelback albums in anticipation of their new record coming out this summer. So, last time we reviewed The State, but this time we have the album which really put Nickelback on the map, which really made them known all over the world. And that album is Silver Side Up. Released on September 11th, 2001, yes, you heard that right, Silver Side Up is really the album that turned Nickelback into the big fish that they are today. It has their most important song on it, which we will get to later, and it's their first album that really did well. I mean, at the time of its release, their previous album, The State, was only gold in Canada and was almost gold, certified gold in the United States. But when this came out, this was quickly certified platinum in both countries, and it sold millions of units all over the world. Along with the fame, this is also when Nickelback started getting a lot of their hate. The reason that they were being hated on for this album is that a lot of the music fans at the time were saying that they were ripping off other bands from like the early 2000s, of course, like let's say from the 90s, for instance, Creed, Pearl Jam, whatever, all that kind of stuff. Whether you agree with that or not, there's no denying that this was a very successful album and definitely one of the most famous ones of the early new millennium. Once again, the record is a little short, under 40 minutes, but it is longer than the previous one by about an entire minute, so yeah, what a big difference. But at least this time they didn't use one track twice. No, this time we got 10 tracks. I personally enjoy all of them, but now let's get into the music with a little bit more detail. The album really starts out on a dark note with the opening track, Never Again. The song is about domestic violence from the viewpoint of a young child, and it really gets disturbing. I mean, whatever you think of Nickelback, this is a very dark way to start off your album. I mean, come on, Jesus. Later in the song, it gets very crazy, like with the wife getting a gun and shooting the husband, stuff like that. So it is a very good song. I really enjoy the guitar on it, even though that I think the lyrics get repeated a little bit too much, so for that it's a little repetitive, but it's definitely one hell of a way to start off your album, very energetic. After that though, we have a song which you probably know even if you don't really know Nickelback. I mean, come on, How You Remind Me. This is how you remind me of what I really am. This is how you remind me of what I really am. How You Remind Me, it really is the biggest reason why Nickelback made it big. Even Chad Kroeger said that without that song, they definitely wouldn't have been as successful as they were. I mean, Chad has said in interviews that when he was writing How You Remind Me, he was listening a lot to the radio, and he was looking at every small detail of the popular rock songs, trying to craft a #1 hit, rock song. And well, he was successful with that, after looking carefully at every single song and thinking, why is this successful? He was able to craft one of my favorite Nickelback songs, and I'm sure that it's definitely one of the songs that all Nickelback fans will always love. A little bit later on the record, we have the song Too Bad, which was another one of the singles. Now, this is a pretty underrated one in my opinion. It's a very touching song, like you can tell a lot of emotion went into it. It was written about, Chad, wrote it about how his father left the family when he was young. And you can really tell that, a lot of feelings went into this. I mean, it's a really heartfelt song. You can tell he put a lot of emotion into it, and I really like it. I really like the chorus, and I'm also really fan of the little guitar intro they got. I really like the guitar work on this album. I really do. Right after that, we have the song Just For. Now, this is basically the album where Nickelback really started to get into writing songs about relationships, you know, stuff like that, which is something that they're known for doing today. Of course, How You Remind Me, their biggest single, it was a song about basically a broken relationship. And now Just For is, I think, a really rocking tune, which actually previously did appear on their debut Curb, although the production was pretty poor here. It's much better in my opinion. It sounds a lot better. The guitar riff, which in my opinion was also very good on Curb, even though I didn't really mention that song then, because I knew that it would appear on this album too. The guitar work on it is very good. It has this very cool riff. I do think it definitely reminds me a little bit of Smells Like Teen Spirit. I don't know if they took inspiration from that or whether it's just accidental, but that's what it reminds me of. It's basically a song about a guy. You know, you have this girl, and apparently, you know, her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, whatever, has been treating her bad, and you're like, oh, you're gonna hurt him for all the things that he did to you, you know, stuff like that. And it's a very good song though. Lyrically, nothing special really. Like I said, just another song about a relationship. You also have the song Hollywood, which doesn't really stand out too much. I mean, it's got a pretty good chorus, I guess. I mean, I remember back in the day it used to be one of my favorite songs just because of the chorus. I mean, it really got stuck in my head. But now it's kind of generic. I mean, that's basically one of the faults of this album, is that a lot of the songs kind of blend together. Which is, I guess, one of the reasons. Also, another one of the reasons why Nickelback tends to get hate is just because people say that all of their songs sound the same. I think on this record that might be a little bit of a problem. They all kind of sound similar in terms of the guitar work, which I still think is good. But you know, Hollywood, it's kind of weird. It also has this one bit within the chorus, which is kind of. I don't even know how to say it. It has this electric robot-like voice for one of the sentences, and it's kind of weird. I mean, I think it sounds a lot better in the concert when they don't have that electric voice, and you know, you just have Ryan Peaks, the guitarist, you know, singing the backup vocal. Then you have two songs, Money Bot, Where Do I Hide, which are, again, nothing special, songs that kind of blend together with the rest of the album, but are very good. I already said before, I like the guitar on this album. Again, that stays the same with those two songs. Where Do I Hide actually has some pretty damn dark lyrics on it, which, you know, definitely recommend checking those out. Definitely one of the harder songs on this record. And then skipping forward to the final track, the 10th one, Good Times Gone. It's definitely the song that stands out, I think, the most from the rest of the record, mainly because it's kind of slow, at least definitely at the start. It has this little country feel to it at the beginning, and it's just, I really like it. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's a very, very special song, and it's definitely, in my opinion, one of the really underrated Nickelback songs. It's about, you know, just Chad, you know, when he's singing, he's reminiscing about stuff he used to do back in the day, you know, on the cornfield, whatever. You know, just good things that he used to do years back, and now he's like, what happened to the good times? You know, where did the good times go? And I just really like the song. You know, it's just sometimes, you know, you can definitely relate to it if you're kind of just reflecting on your past, and you're like, man, things used to be so good back in the day, and I really like it for that. So those are almost all of the tracks on this record. I didn't mention all of them. You also have Woke Up This Morning and Hangnail, but those are some of the more filler songs, which I still personally like. Like, I like basically every single Nickelback song, even if they're generic, you know. I don't know, there's just something about it, like, it's just, I have so much nostalgia. This was one of the first records I really got into, of course. And, well, I mean, it's the album that really, I mean, of course, the first ever CD I bought, the CDs I bought, were the original album series, and this is of course from the original album series of Nickelback. And this was the first album I really listened to. I listened to this even before I got the original album series. I listened to it on the internet, so I just can't really hate too much on this, even though it has its faults. Like I said, all the songs just kind of blend together, and you know, definitely the second half of the album is kind of really filler-like, but I still think it's a very good album. You know, one of the most well-known of the early 2000s, and like I said, the album that made Nickelback huge. So yeah, of course, for many people, this is also where their downfall really began, you know, when they started to sell out. Of course, not for me. I'm still a huge Nickelback fan, but that was the record, so yeah. So far, in my opinion, this is definitely Nickelback's best album up to this point from what I've reviewed. It's still not my favorite album. We are still yet to get to that, but believe me, we'll get to that soon. But yeah, it's like I said, it has their most famous song, How You Remind Me. And yeah, it's basically, without it, Nickelback would still be, you know, a relatively unknown band. And who knows, maybe if not for this album, maybe their entire path would have changed. Maybe they never would have, you know, gone to the more mainstream route that they kind of did, you know, after the making of this. Maybe they, you know, who knows what would have happened if not for this record, you know. It also definitely was kind of inspired, you know, definitely kind of served as inspiration for other, you know, post-grunge bands in the 2000s and stuff like that. So this was definitely a very big album back in the day. So you know what, I'm gonna give it a nice 8 out of 10. You know, the best score I've given on Nickelback album so far. Some people might hate on me for giving a better score than The State, because of course many people think that The State was their last good album, but I personally prefer this. Like I said, I have a lot of, you know, like this was one of the real first albums I really got into. I mean, so I just really can't hate on it too much. You gotta understand that. But this was it for this review, of course. Next time we will continue with Nickelback's next album. And well, hopefully you guys are gonna be looking forward to that. My name is The Polish Gamer. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. And I'm gonna see you guys in my next video. Bye! Not like you to say sorry, I was waiting on a different story. This time I'm mistaken for handing you a heart worth breaking. And I've been wrong, I've been down, been to the bottom of every bottle. Oh shit, this is still recording.